Wondering what a health lawyer actually does? Well, you are in luck because in today's video, we are diving into exactly what healthcare is and what it looks like to practice it. Hey guys, if you're new to this channel, I'm Angela Vorpal of angelavorpal.com and the Law School Network Facebook group. And in this video series, we are breaking down different legal niches so that you can actually see what it means to practice that type of law. Because the truth of the matter is that there are hundreds of different types of law out there, and most of us, practicing lawyers included, have zero idea what 99% of lawyers actually do. And so by breaking down these different legal practice areas, the idea is to give you an inside look and hopefully help you figure out what type of law you may want to practice one day. And on that note, be sure to take the What Type of Law Should I Practice quiz before diving into this video. It will give you a foundation as to what your natural strengths and abilities and interests may lend themselves to in the practice of law. So once you've done that, smash this like button so we can dive into this video and get going. And to walk us through what health law is and what it looks like to practice it is Angela Hahn. Angela is an attorney and a life coach. As an attorney, she works in health law for an in-house corporation. And as a life coach, she helps lawyers get results by transforming their blind spots into strengths. Angela, thank you so much for being with us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
All right, so what is the 10-second down and dirty version of what health law is?
10-second down and dirty version of what health law is. I honestly can't answer that question, but then if I had to, it's really about the following the regulatory bodies of healthcare agencies of the government so that we provide fair, equitable healthcare for all in the US.
Amazing. And the what would be the longer version of what a health lawyer actually does?
Um, what a healthcare actually does. So I work with a lot of different types of healthcare attorneys. I'm just one type, and I what they really do are they're experts of the rules and regulations that are required to provide healthcare, really, in the U.S. And so a lot of that entails making sure that we are not overcharging and that we are not overbilling patients or the government or payers or providers, so that we are offering, like I said, good healthcare, quality healthcare to our patients.
And what sector of the legal industry do you practice health law in?
Yeah. So my company is we staff skilled nursing facilities and senior living facilities across the states. I keep saying the U.S., but yes. So we provide staffing for physical therapy, occupational therapy, and speech and language pathology therapy personnel in those facilities.
Okay, awesome. So you're an in-house lawyer, which I know is sort of this unicorn position that so many lawyers aspire to have. And so can you walk us through what a typical week might look like for you, kind of when your day starts, when it ends, and some of the typical tasks that you're doing kind of day to day and week to week?
Yeah, it's very understandable that it's kind of like that unicorn desired career because, well, for me personally, this is the only in-house position that I've had. So I can't really speak for any other in-house positions, but the biggest reason that this is so attractive to me is the people that I work with, and especially my boss, because he really makes me feel safe being an attorney and being part of his team. But in terms of like what we actually do, commercial contracts and negotiating those contracts, HR issues, and managing litigation with outside counsel. Those are the kind of three main things. Also, corporate filing, making sure that we're able to do business in all the places that we do business, and yeah, it's kind of all of it: corporate, transactional, regulatory, litigation, all of it.
And in terms of how much you're required to work, I know one of the big differences between working in a law firm and working in house is that working in house, you don't have billable hours. And so, how does that translate into sort of a day to day workflow for you? And does it feel more manageable? Does it feel more flexible than it may otherwise be for health lawyers working in law firms?
Yeah, because I also work with health lawyers working at law firms. I understand that they have longer hours because like there are times when we need answers pretty quickly. And so the turnaround time for them is tighter than for us. And so the places where there is a high demand for us to work overtime is when there is a deal going on or where there is an urgent customer situation going on, just our stakeholders. And so that is for us something that happens from time to time, but it's not like a daily occurrence. Whereas I think for a big law, I'm assuming that that probably happens a little bit more often because they have more clients who are in an urgent need for answers as soon as possible all the time.
And if you're open to sharing with us, how much does a healthcare lawyer working in house typically make? How much can you expect to make in a role like that?
Yeah, I think there is definitely a range. I started at like a mid five-figure salary and now I'm at a low six-figure salary. And I think it really depends on the size of a company. And so the size of the company and whether it's privately held, publicly held, all of the like the outside counsel budget, all of that stuff. So I would definitely check out um I think Barker Gilmore, I think, has a report on the range for in-house counsel positions based on your experience, your expertise, even school, where you live, all of that stuff. So that's a very helpful resource.
Okay, perfect. And what would you say is the most fun part of the job and also the worst part of the job?
Okay. The most fun part of the job is being able to use different parts of my brain. That's been something that I always wanted to um have like in any career, because like if I'm doing just like one thing, like there are some people who really want to go deep into like one topic and be like an expert in that in a very deep way, profound way. But then for me, I'm kind of like all over the place, so I kind of want to think about like an HR issue for 1 second and then talk about a contract issue for another second, or talk about some sort of other litigation. And so I think that's my favorite part, that I don't have to like stick to just one thing all day every day. And the worst part, I guess like that's like the flip side of that, is that I don't get to say that I'm an expert in like this one law or like this one tax code or this one regulation or whatever. And so sometimes like that could instill this fear of the future, like, oh, what if I do want to be seen as an expertise? And so I don't think, like, I used to have that fear in the beginning, but because I think that being in a house counsel is also a deep skill in and of itself, um, it's not so much something that I necessarily hate, but it is a possible downside that I can think of right now.
Got it. Yeah, that makes total sense. And one of the other questions that I'd love to ask is what steps did you take in law school or right after law school to get into this area of the law?
Yeah. So I think a couple of things, like in terms of just like my personal inner work, I had to decide what industry I wanted to go into, because I knew that if I was just throwing spaghetti at the wall, thinking like whatever would stick, it would kind of take a longer time to find my little niche or like my space. And so I decided I wanted to go into healthcare because I had my own healthcare struggles when I first came to the States as an immigrant. And so I wanted to pick an industry that was personal to me. And in terms of like actually finding a position, it was really kind of finding a needle in a million haystacks, but I was very persistent, looking at every possible job board there was from Indeed, even though that necessarily wasn't the most helpful for me. That was the one that was most well known. So I went to Indeed. I went to Simplicity. I think that's one of the job boards that's available in law schools. And the place that I actually found this position was goinhouse.com, I believe. And so what they have a functionality there where you can subscribe based on industry and area. And so I subscribed like for every healthcare job available, and they would send me openings every single day, and I would read them up every single day. And they also have I also subscribe to jobs that are available in the DC area because that's where I live, DC, Baltimore area. And they would send another email every single day. So I would get 2 emails from them every day and I would just be looking. And so after like 4 to 5 months, I finally found this one position that was open for entry level attorney junior in-house position. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I found this and applied and took about a couple months to go through the process.
That's incredible. That's so amazing, especially since you hear all the time that you can't go in-house straight out of law school. And so to have that experience and to be an example of that is just so fantastic. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. And the last question I love to ask is if you had to recommend this area of the law, so health law, to a law student or a new lawyer, what would you rate it 1 through 10?
Um, so this one is a sort of a tricky question because it the fact that I enjoy my practice has only partially due to the fact that it's health law, and most of it has to do with the fact that I work for my boss and the company that I work for. And so health law in and of itself, I would rate it, I would rate it at a 10 just because that it's such a rich place to learn. Like it tells you how literally the whole government works and how and I feel like with health, like that is something that is not going anywhere. Like your health will always be there. And so the fact that you're understanding how the government and other private providers like interact with our personal health is such an important field to just be in the know of. But yeah, but then in terms of like why I recommend that you become a in-house healthcare lawyer, I would say you really got to find the people that you vibe with, people who respect your personhood and your lawyerhood and your personal growth and all of that. Because even if health law itself is such a fascinating field, if you're surrounded by people who are toxic, it's not going to matter how great it is. So that would be my caveat to the rating of 10 stars.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And I think that's such an important message in the legal industry in general because it has such a reputation for being such a tough, incredibly demanding place to work. So always a good piece of advice to keep in mind as well. And if people want to reach out to you, learn more, ask any follow-up questions, where's the best place for them to find you?
Yeah, find me on LinkedIn, Angela Han. It's going to be very easy to find me.
Amazing. Angela, thank you so much. This was so fantastic. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Angela.
All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you have any questions, drop them in the comment section below, and we will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.